Welcome, YouTube. Some interesting stuff going on, including some coronal mass ejections and lots more. Let's get to it. Here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news, we're big on facts. And if you're wondering where that coronal mass ejection is it headed toward your doorstep? We'll let you know toward the end of the video. And welcome to space. Here's a zoomed out version. Spectacular coronal mass ejection happening here. There was also an M-class flare. There's a coronal hole high-speed stream, coronal hole facing the Earth, additional sunspots rising, and more. Here's the 171 angstroms view, the house favorite. There's an M-class flare right at the end of this video here. It's a 24-hour series of images from the Solar Dynamics Observatory, or SDO. There's that M-class flare happening. The radial flux now up to 121 solar flux units. We also had a brief period of geomagnetic storm, so exciting stuff going on here in the realm of space. This is the last 4 hours of magnetohydrodynamic pressure, our geospace magnetosphere movie showing Earth's magnetic moment from space. Elon Musk ought to watch our videos. Not sure if he does or if he knows they exist, but there was at least one SpaceX debacle that might have been prevented. Had he watched our content, we were forecasting a coronal mass ejection strike, and they lost most of the Starlink satellites on that day. How about ground magnetic perturbations? We've shown you Earth's magnetic moment from space. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground over the past 4 hours, and we should see a quickly subsiding geomagnetic storm condition here. So the pressure, the magnetic flux density here should be dropping. The scale you're looking at there, magnetic flux density, is nanotesla. Should be calming down here as we've seen the KP index drop back down to 2. So we made it all the way up to 5 there, a brief period of geomagnetic storm. And here's the real-time solar wind data. Still seeing an elevated solar wind here at about 500 kilometers a second. Solar wind density 9.26 protons per cubic centimeter. Next, magnetic data. So here are the measurements from the GOES 16 and 17. And it's a sputtering coronal hole high-speed stream is what we're seeing here. And the magnetometers back that up. Next, we'll look at the heliospheric current sheet. I think there is a south pole-oriented current sheet headed Earth's way here. Not showing up in the data yet, though, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Here's your line-of-sight field plot. Sun's B field shown here in blue. Polar fields shown in red for south, green for north. And let's move to coronal holes since there's one facing right toward the Earth. It's a North Pole-oriented coronal hole system. Those North Pole coronal holes shown there in green. And you can see they're reaching well past the equator. Let's take a closer look. Here's 193 angstroms from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And interestingly, coronal holes are like low-pressure zones. And when we have a low-pressure zone in a star, it's so low that it blasts protons out into the surrounding space. Yeah, those protons are surrounded by such a low-pressure zone that those solar protons make it all the way to the Earth magnetosphere. Next, moving on to sunspots. And we've got 2 new ones having risen here over the eastern limb. They're quite close to the equator. In fact, this one right here, that should be known as 3034, I believe? 3035. So this is 3034, and this is 3035, I think. Check it out. It's right on the equator. I don't think I've ever seen that before. The polarity is leading North Pole, by the way. I checked earlier. And let's continue on here to show some more detailed imagery here. 1700 angstroms. It's part of the extreme ultraviolet spectrum. So higher frequency light there than what's visible to the naked eye. We can only see these wavelengths from space. Once again, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. If you don't watch us on Twitch, by the time you saw this video on YouTube, there would have been 3 space weather videos already completed today. If you're not seeing all of our content, head to smashomash.com/smashteam and just click on posts. Most of our posts are public. However, we do put up posts only for our gold and silver paid subscriptions. So right there is where I got to stop because, well, we need to get paid to create the content. And we make just this side of nothing, making it for YouTube. Give Smash staff a raise if you think Mansa is political. Think again, I'm completely apolitical. I'm a pragmatist. And I have absolutely no interest in who's getting elected. I'm interested in what works. And what works is personal responsibility. It's up to you to make America not suck again. It's up to America to make Earth not suck again. So these things go hand in hand. Mansa, make America not suck again. If it's been sucking for the past 2+ years, it seems like there is a list of those who should be held accountable. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And most importantly, please give Smash staff a raise. She is a partner in these operations. Don't forget to enter the promo code FINDYOURVIBE to save 20% through June 17th. Once again, make America not suck again. It's up to you. SmashOmash.org will redirect you to our homepage at SmashOmash.com. You can find our links to our social media there and more, like our forum and our mission, and welcome to the Neo Renaissance. We like to talk about things like how stars appear to really work. So here's this long duration M-class flare. Let's bring up the 6-hour chart. How about the 1-day chart? There you go. There's a long duration M-class flare. And when we did show prep, we didn't see any relativistic particles from this yet. Still no protons there. No spikes in the proton flux. And let's take a look at this flare in 94 angstroms, one of the best wavelengths to view flares. And there's that spectacular large M-class flare there right near the, up toward the northeastern limb of El Sol. Let that play through one more time for your viewing pleasure. Number 1, I order you to refrain from taking a number 2 in your pants. Engage. Don't chart, everything's going to be all right. So the sun's just risen here over Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Ahead of that was Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, and Mercury, as all the planets gather on one side of the solar system, frightening people because they don't understand planetary physics. We're approaching a full moon in a couple of days. Today's June 13th. Monday the 13th. Let's do a 1-week forecast. There's where things will be in a week. We will have a gibbous waning as Earth approaches Saturn to pass the gas giant, orbitally speaking. I guess that'll probably frighten people as well. Because reasons. So let's look at these coronagraphs here to inform you how this coronal mass ejection is oriented. Is it headed toward Earth? Is it time to stop your grinning and drop your linen? Should you be in a bunker right now? Well, let's break it down by looking at the coronagraph at stereo A here at Lagrange 5. That would be on the left. And from stereo A's perspective, Earth would be off like this, which means that coronal mass ejection is completely on the far side of the sun, nowhere near Earth. And it's also off to Earth's west. So it's nowhere near planet Earth. Let's close out with some additional imagery here. Here's a composite from yesterday and today. That's 171 angstroms plus the colorized magnetogram. And here's some additional coronagraph imagery to close things out. Yowzers. Anyway, thanks for tuning into the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Don't forget to press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Tell your friends and foes about us. We'll be back soon with additional videos. And may that solar wind be at your back.